Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Courageous Conversations. I'm just going to do a little sharing and let me know you're here as well. Because, of course, I'm going to be talking about a courageous thing called, you grew up in a family that possibly taught you to dim your light so they wouldn't be triggered or jealous. And I want to just sort of address that because people are saying constantly, shine and be out there, and yet there's this patterning going on psychologically that is, really, really challenging. But before I go forward, I'm just going to do a little bit of sharing, and I hope you will as well if this is a topic that is hitting you hard at your core, shall we say. So let me just do a little bit of sharing here on this gorgeous Toronto morning. Let's see. I'm going to share it on all my pages, Courageous Conversations, and I would love you to join me on that. And hi, Sheila. Nice to see you. Nice to see you, Mandy. It was the first on. You are a rock star. Phyllis. Hello, hello, hello. So I'm just sharing this on some of my pages, Courageous Conversations. Hey, Michael Astley. He took the picture, by the way. Michael Astley, fabulous photographer. That picture that I did the sort of pre-advertising last night, me looking at my phone, do dim your light. That was Michael Astley. Frank Fatier, nice to see you. And I'm just going to do a little bit of sharing. And then we're going to talk about dimming one's light and why we do this and what kind of family culture promotes this. And also I want to talk about a couple of things that will get you out of this very specifically, stuff that I work with myself personally. And then, these are the things that people need to really, really, really look at. Because honestly, the dimming of one's light is so destructive, I feel. And unless you are someone who wants to be constantly at the mercy of the things that family has taught that isn't healthy, then you want to hear this. You really, really do want to hear this. So let me just do a quick share on all my pages. On my group, Courageous Conversations, which is a closed group, but I'd love you to join it because it's a support group. And it's very beautiful how people are speaking about their inner journeys and feeling very safe to talk about it. All of us are talking about it in that group. So I really appreciate it. Okay, here we go. I'm going to finish my sharing. Okay, here we go. So I want to talk about specifically why do we do this? Why do we dim our lights based on family? It's not just, thanks, Jacqueline. I appreciate you saying that. I adore you too. But here's the thing. Why do we dim our light? It's all fun and games to say, shine, don't dim your light, step into your power. Hey, Hanya, nice to see everybody. Daniel, step into your power, all of that stuff. It's fun and games to say that. It's a great meme. It's what a lot of people are saying out there. But I because I'm a psychotherapist, want to look at the inner workings about why we do that. It's not just because people criticized us or whatever it may be. That's part of it. But there's an inner working that's quite subconscious in a lot of Jacqueline, I'm going to be doing workshops for sure in the fall. There's going to be some really powerful stuff coming up. Everybody, a lot of great changes coming up. So I want to definitely talk about these kinds of things. But here's something to really, really get. Okay, why do we do this? Why do we dim our light? Number one, the family culture. It's a subconscious, osmotic concept. This is not something that we're going, oh, this is what my mother is saying. Oh, this is what my father is saying. No, we're just catching things on an osmotic, psychic, very, very subconscious level. And one thing I notice with people a lot is people become the hard-working baby as they're growing up, the hard-working child, where they're perceiving that I will not be loved and accepted unless I comply to this culture that's before me in this family. And let's just say there's an insecure parent, maybe an insecure mother if you're a girl, insecure father if you're a boy, and doesn't like even though they're not saying it because they themselves are not owning this, or could be, or sibling issues. There's not enough love to go around. Hi, Yutushka, nice to see you. Not enough love to go around. And the family culture isn't about love necessarily. It's about insecurity and comparisons and performing. And the hardworking baby gets this notion, I have to perform to the standards that are being offered to me in order to get love and belonging. And the standard may be, don't look better than me. Don't be more successful than me. And again, this is not being said, don't do this. That's not what's going on. It's happening at a very subtle level. Possibly a facial expression. Possibly just ignoring your successes. Possibly, right, Hanya? Just ignoring no one's celebrating a person's success. Or no one's saying, good job, or anything like that. It's just silenced. Sometimes more damaging is neglect, emotional neglect, versus actual emotional abuse. And I would say that it has a very similar effect on the brain and on a person to experience neglect. And I'm not even just talking neglect, but just ignoring your, ignoring your wonderment. I mean, I can really relate to this on so many levels. And then the person goes, I gotta work harder. I gotta work harder. I gotta work harder. Because if I don't work harder, maybe they'll say something about me if I keep working hard. Gosh, this is giving me tears. Anyway, it's something I can relate to, but it's something I work with every day in the office. So as I'm talking about this quite publicly, I wasn't aware that I was going to get emotional, but here I am getting emotional. There's this incredible, awesome opportunity when you realize this, and when you end up in a psychotherapy office to change this. But people are so attuned to this behavior of, I'm getting, crickets, the term crickets, chirps, nothing, no applause, no acknowledgement, because either the parents or the siblings or the adult people are just feeling internally kind of jealous, or internally kind of, why did they get it? Why does she or he get all the attention? Why does she, get all the love? But they're not saying it because it's an embarrassing thing to admit. Let's fucking agree on that. Parents want to be good parents. We all want to be good people. But there's this inner untherapized, unworked on human that has a baby, and then that baby, starts to do better than them, starts to look better than them, starts to have more love. That's another big one. Maybe the parent came from a situation where they were neglected and abused, and then they're giving all the love to the kid, but they realize, oh, I never got all that love. I never had all that acceptance. And there's a huge experience from the child who really feels this lack of acknowledgement, lack of applause, because let me tell you, as children, all we really want is, as we start to individuate and do our own thing, we look back and all we really want is our parent to do this. And that's not codependent or needy or unhealthy. That's just the normal experience of developing in a family. So Jessica, you say the word cycle, what I was going to bring up next, as if you are psychic. I want to bring up this concept called the pattern, or rather the cycle of self-denial. So I developed this early on. Obviously, I can't show you this. It's in my first book, page mid book, and I talk deeply about this. My first book is called Find Your Self Culture: Moving from Depression and Anxiety to Monumental Self-Acceptance. And one of the things I developed in my first book was this concept called the cycle of self-denial. And it starts with, stay with me, everybody, stay with me. It starts at the bottom. It's a circle. At the bottom, the beginning of why you start the cycle of self-denial is you start to understand from your family culture, osmotically, that your needs, your wants, your successes, your way of being are just not getting any acknowledgement, and are not getting any airtime, or not getting any, and no one's sort of going, no one's teaching you that your needs matter, that your wants matter, that your successes matter. And the family culture is just to kind of be a little bit ignoring, and a lot ignoring at times, of whatever the person is doing. And yet, as humans, we have go along the cycle to the next part of the cycle, which is the person wakes up and goes, well, wait a minute, I have needs. See me, hear me, love me, acknowledge me. Hello? What about me? Right? Yes, you can get my book on Amazon, and you can get it on my website too, visualizationworks.com, visualizationworks.com. And then you keep going around the cycle from, your needs don't matter. But wait a minute, I have needs. I'm a human being. But then because you keep having your needs not met in the family as a child, you feel ragey, you feel angry, you feel like, what the hell, what's going on? Or you feel depressed. One of the two expressions. Either anger turned inward becomes depression, or anger turned outward becomes rage. And that's how the person becomes. And they develop a bunch of patterns when they realize that they're angry and ragey and sad and depressed because they're not getting any kind of their needs met or any kind of acknowledgement. And then they outwardly become not great to be around. Depressive, angry, ragey, unhappy, overly needy, these types of things. And then that sort of turns people off. And when you start to turn people off, you get an impression, oh, right, I learned that early in my childhood. My needs don't matter. My accomplishments should not be acknowledged. And then therein the cycle continues. The cycle of self-denial. And you start to say, well, self-denial, I don't deserve, it's not for me. Acknowledgement is not for me. Love is not for me. Good things are not for me. And then this cycle happens. And the only thing that matters, because there's still the hardworking baby going on, the only thing that matters is I need to fall in line with what the family culture says is right. And if you're dealing with a parent, for example, who is unhappy themselves, that hardworking baby just wants to please the mother, please the father, pleasing. And it's not about self. Self culture is lost, which is why the book is called Find Your Self Culture. You know what I mean? Because it's all about mother culture, father culture, what the family wants, not what I want. And then, you end up in offices like mine, a psychotherapy office, going, I'm not happy. Who am I? All these things, these sort of, breakdowns or bad relationships or crappy jobs or not knowing who you are, what you want, what you need, because you've been trained out of that. You've numbed that out. And so that looks like light dimming. And even though I'm a pretty bright, energetic, that definitely was one of the things I experienced. And so I think that part of my passion or my desire to share this is so people understand that there is a deep inner working patterning that says dim your light so other people won't feel triggered, jealous, uncomfortable. Don't make such a big light so other people are in your shadow. Dim your light so other people will feel more comfortable. I mean, I have people telling me of their light is so dimmed that, they wanted to protect their abuser's reputation, their sexual abuser's reputation, or that's how much they wanted to dim their light. No, don't rock the boat. No, don't say anything. And so there's such a incredible opportunity when you understand, oh, that's where it came from. When you really look the monster in the eye, you can neutralize it. And you can start to gently do baby steps where you start to say, and without a panic attack, I matter. I want to shine a light. I want to shine. Without that being an egocentric thing, without that being an egocentric thing. And Yatushka says, I found myself to become aloof as a child, a type of detachment, yes, I guess a kind of self-preservation. Oh, I want to cry, Yatushka. That's exactly right, because children become aloof and detached because they got it, that it's just easier to be that way. It's just easier to be that way. And if you're that way, maybe you're not going to get hurt. So I just want to hug you, Yatushka. I want to hug you. Yeah. So, and a lot of people, I feel emotional. It must be the Mercury retrograde, and it must be the eclipses and all of these things, because I'm just very emotional today about these patterns that we engage in, which is to dim our lights, and we compromise the world, because the world will only benefit when we say, let me put it out there. Let me put it out there. Let me give myself to the world so people will benefit from what it is that I have to offer. And so you can do that too. You can really realize that. And I just want to keep supporting everyone who's on the journey to healing the planet, because the planet needs us, let me tell you. All the light workers out there, anyone who's out there on this journey, the planet is in desperate need of people to inspire. Maybe people aren't going to be inspired by Victoria, but they'll be inspired by Yutushka. Maybe people won't be inspired by Yutushka, they'll be inspired by Hanya and her journey. Maybe, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter who you're getting it from, as long as you're getting some inspiration from someone. I know my inspiration has come from various people at different times in my life. Yeah, I know you're okay, Yutushka. She says, I'm okay. I'm like, I know you're okay, sweetie. We're all okay. But, you know, I feel you too. So, how to get out of it? Number one, you got to acknowledge that you've been in the cycle of self-denial in some way, where your needs, where you've subconsciously told yourself and then consciously told yourself, oh yeah, I was taught, you have to say to yourself, I was taught that to shine will offend, hurt, trigger, create jealousy. Oh yeah, that's what Jaclyn Hill is saying. You become low maintenance because you figure to ask for more will only end up in disappointment and more hurt. Exactly. I mean, exactly, Jaclyn. That's exactly it. We get it. We get it psychically, and we become these hard-working babies to please them, please the mother, please the father, not get the rejection of the older sister, not piss off the friend, not create jealousy. Oh, my makeup is falling in my eyes and it's stinging like a bitch. All right, here we go. Oh, courageous conversation problems. Okay, so Michelle Grimm says, I shine and then I hide. Oh, it's like an underground energy that pulls me back down. Loving you talking about this. I know, I'm glad that I'm talking about this. It was a topic on my Courageous Conversations closed group, which I'd love everybody to join because it's a support group and we've all committed to being there, to just being very transparent and vulnerable yet supportive of one another. And I'm on there a lot, inspiring people and sharing my own stuff. And yeah, Michelle, you do shine. You're amazing. Michelle Grimm, I met at Sedona at the Women's Speak Conference. And people kept coming up to us and saying, you remind me of Michelle, and and vice versa. But I just want you to know, Michelle, that I see you. And Jaclyn, I see you. And Yutushka, I see you. And Hanya, I see you. I see everyone that's around and sharing, because I know what it's like to not be seen. I really do. And so I want you to know that I see you. And Jaclyn says, I tried to feel unheard, unseen, which plugs into the belief of I don't matter. Exactly. And when we get it, when we go, oh, got it. My needs don't matter. Got it. Make a note. My needs don't matter. My thoughts, words will not get acknowledgement. When you get that at a deep level, that's when you dull your shine. And you just dull it, and you dull it, and you dull it. And then also, when you get, hi Wayne, nice to see you. When you get the notion that dimming your light will please other people, that's a huge one. That's a huge one. When you realize, okay, I'm gonna dim my light, and that will please the other person. That will please my mother. That will please my sister. That's a motherfucker. That's huge. Excuse my language. That's so big, to get that. But to undo that, you need to, okay, are we ready for the undoing of it? Come on. The only way to undo anything and to grow past your patterns, is to understand that you need to experience some pain, a smaller amount of pain. The pain of what you think of me, what you, family of origin, thinks of me, is not of consequence. You got to go through that pain and feel the guilt and feel the sadness. But that pain will dissipate over time, will just go away over time. What will not go away over time is the pain of self-loathing, self-betrayal, of regret that you didn't do what you were not supposed to, but what you didn't do, what you needed to do on this planet to be of service, to shine your light, to write your book, to write your play, to put yourself out there, to coach people, to teach what you need to teach, to whatever it is, that pain will not go away. That will not go away, because there will be a lot of feelings of remorse and guilt and self-loathing and shame. But what will go away is the pain of people that, your family of origin possibly, maybe rejecting you a bit, maybe kind of snarking at you a bit, maybe being very judgmental of you, and you're kind of like, no problem, Teflon, and then feeling a little bit guilty about that. That guilt will dissipate over time, and I promise it will. And the best way is to work on what I talk about as self-worth, not self-love. Self-worth, not self-love, because self-love could come with the baggage of what you learned love was like in the family of origin, right? Because self-love may have the baggage of self-bullying or self-manipulation. No, don't do the love. Do initially self-worth. That will lead you to love, healthy love. And so self-worth looks like, hey, I matter. Hey, I have something to say, and self-celebration, these kinds of things. Without it being egocentric, by the way. It's not about a big freaking ego. It's about self-worth. You got to find your ego in order to let go of your ego. But first you got to find it. First you got to find your healthy ego. And then you can let go of it once it feels full. But initially the journey is find it and treasure it and then share. Create an overflow and share. So self-worth, working on that is the road out of the cycle of self-denial. Okay? And then the pain of self-worth, because you were taught not to, will dissipate over time. But what will not dissipate over time is the self-betrayal feeling. Okay? And just chip away at it. Get support. Get support from people. And if you can't afford therapy, join a Courageous Conversations group. Go to ACA, Adult Children of Alcoholics and Dysfunctional Families. Free 12-step. All over the world, even online if you can't get to one. Go to an AA meeting. Go to an Al-Anon meeting. Find friends that hear you and are not going to be jealous if you shine and look fabulous and do fabulous and are fabulous. Fuck that. If they don't like it, if they get jealous of you, you need to ditch that shit. Honestly, dump it, and it's not working. Or downgrade them to less important in your life. Maybe don't dump them. Maybe don't amputate them. But just downgrade them to less important, less expectation over them. You can't dump family of origin, but you can put them in a place where it's not as crucial for you. Okay. All right. I shared it today, and I'm so glad I did. Keep having courageous conversations with yourself and others, and don't give up on yourself. You matter. What you think, what you feel, what you say, how you look, what you do matters. It matters. And I'm here to hear you, okay? And to acknowledge you. Keep having courageous conversations with you and others, and let's get through July 2019. It's a big juggernaut of a month with the 2 eclipses and the retrograde. Looking forward to August. Woohoo! Very soon I'm going to be taking a week off. Oh, and don't, as in next week I'm going to be at a retreat, but I will probably do a live because that's just how I am sometimes. But here's something I want to say. This Thursday, tomorrow, I'm going to be on a radio show as the resident monthly psychotherapist on the Anything Goes show. So follow my feed to know where to listen. And it's on at 8 o'clock tomorrow night on radio, Frequency 5 FM. Looking forward to it. Big hugs, everybody. Have a great day.